Good morning, Michael Masarang here again. And this morning we're at one of our existing job sites. We're up in Rowan County, which is kind of northeast of Charlotte, North Carolina. One of our customers here is doing some work inside his crawl space. We have some foundation drainage issues as well as some issues with the floor. This house was built in the early 80s, pretty much a big rectangle, and as with many homes of this vintage, no footing drains installed on the home, as well as the crawl space does have some spanning issues. We have water intrusion issues that are coming in. As you see, the way this is sloped, the high side is here at the carport, and water, I think over many years, has seeped in through the back side of the carport section here. The crawl space does span out into a small section behind the carport, and water has bled in here over the years and made its way along the foundation and has collected all the way down here if you're facing the structure at the left side of the home. The house is in really good shape, good gutters and downspouts, the things I like to see, extended downspouts, oversized gutters with oversized discharge points with proper 6-foot gutter extensions on this home. This homeowner has done a really good job maintaining this house over the years. The bushes are maintained to a reasonable size. Again here, good downspout extensions. And unfortunately, the way the soils are here in Rowan and Girders, it's very rocky, which forces a lot of the water to the surface. So a lot of homes that are in crawl spaces will have foundation drainage problems here in this part of the state, as well as the Piedmont in general. So what we're going to do today, the guys are in production. We've removed the old vapor barrier and all the trash. And right now we're doing some structural repairs, some couple of boards that needed to be sistered that were rotten, and we're working on that, as well as digging footers for our custom drop girder system. As with many homes of this vintage, the floors tend to be overspanned. You get to 12-14 foot spans between the load points, and floors will flex. This homeowner reported some pretty severe deflection issues inside, and so basically what we're doing is doubling the amount of crawl space piers that we're going to install here. And I'm going to turn the lights on here so we can see everything well. And let's see here. As you can see here, we are installing a structural steel drop girder system, and you can see he's standing inside of a footer that we're building, a 24-inch by 24-inch by 10-inch dimension footer, and our CMU pier will be constructed on top of that. So we're using proper concrete mix. Here they bag that. This is a good crawl space to review, since it's pretty much stand-up. We all don't always have the stand-up crawl space to deal with. So another reason why I want to be here today. We can see as we're going along here another footer that's being prepped, and also if you'll see, there's the existing drop girder line that supports the middle of the structure, and that's all we have as far as support. You can see these footers are poured here, and they're gonna have to cure out for a couple of days. And also you'll see here, to address the water intrusion issue, we're going to do a pipe and gravel foundation drainage system. As you can see, we are prepping this area. This is properly dug out. A lot of the companies will just scrape a little soil out, throw a little rocks and a pipe on the surface and call that a footing drain. We're not doing that. This is a real footing drain. Everything will be covered with a geotextile sock, a pipe wrapped with geotextile stock with a generous amount of aggregate with a minimum of 2 inches of clearance at the top of the drain. So you can see when we do this stuff, we do it right. We can bring in engineers and inspectors to inspect our work, and we take this very seriously. So we're also going to do an industrial cleaning service, get rid of some of this microbial growth that's noted here on the floor system. That's part of why we're here. And we'll install a vapor barrier once we're all finished, once the structural supports are in place. And when I get back here for stage 2 of the video, you'll see the finished product, the structural steel drop girder, all of the CMU piers that we're building, as well as the finished product with the footing drains. We are also putting a sump pump here at the left front corner. Here's our new sump basin that you'll see here, and we'll feature that here on the return visit when we complete the sump system and our connecting drain tiles. So again, we're doing foundation drainage, structural modifications, and repairs on this home, as well as solving the drainage problem that's been here a long time and cleaning this crawl space up so this homeowner will have a good moisture-free crawl space. We'll see you here soon for stage 2. Here we are for the second half of the video. The guys are here today finishing up the project, and we're going to go inside and see how things turned out. What a major change. We've installed the new liner, and we've got our foundation drains have also been installed. Pipe and gravel system with a minimum of 2 to 3 inches of rock over the top of the pipe. Make sure that this drain will last a good long time. You can see here our CMU piers constructed on 24 by 24 by 8 inch footings. We've got structural steel over the top of these CMU piers. 2 separate girder lines here to remove spans out of the floor system. We've also added a 3rd ply to this girder here. The main girder going down the center of the crawl space. The original builders only put 2 plies here, and engineers like to see 3, so we just went ahead and added a ply all the way down, which gave us a much better platform to do some jacking and shimming. We did jack and shim on this house. You can see here the industrial cleaning service went very well. The microbial material has been removed and the floor system has been cleaned. All the ductwork wiped down. We can see here the liner. This is a standard 10 mil contractor class liner. It is not fiber reinforced, as the fiber reinforced liners tend to off-gas odor that many customers will report. We did decide to do a closed crawl space on this home, and we also did install a sump pump here, and you can see here our sump pump and extra large drainage field for continued long-term longevity. This is our exit line. This is within 10-15 feet of the sump pump. The shorter the exit line, the better. I like these little bubble pot assemblies where the water can just bubble up and flow away. I hate pop-ups. They're terrible, they break, and they're a maintenance nightmare for a service. So I really like to see these, and the guys did these today. Certainly a standard exit line, making sure your downspouts are extended away will help keep this crawl space dry for many, many years to come. And there's our pipe and gravel system. We did do a full perimeter pipe and gravel system on this home, even though the customer did do some improvements with the gutters and so forth, which are important for solving foundation drainage issues. We did decide to do a drain system. I don't always recommend them unless it's the absolute last resort, but this old house I think has been leaking for years, and this became more necessary to control foundation drainage and to keep this pretty white liner clean for hopefully a long, long time. You can see here the second drop girder line. Metal shims. That's what engineers like to see. Structural steel is chosen as opposed to doing lumber or dimensional lumber. These 5-inch I-beams get better capacities. I think we talked about that in the first part of the video. You know, making sure also when you do these fuller protocol, in-cap type protocols, you want to make sure you leave your gap so that the termite companies can inspect for termites. We did terminate the liner at the edge of the drain so that water that's bleeding in through the wall can make it into the drain. So we're not being counterproductive here and working against ourselves. But yeah, you can see here this drop girder went all the way to the back, all the way to the carport wall. I'm sorry, the garage wall. And we cut this span in half to create performance. This house was built with a spanning issue, as many houses in the 80s and 90s tended to be. This, by doubling the amount of support here, we certainly have improved the floor performance by quite a bit, and by jacking and shimming on the existing girder as well as the new structural steel drop girder that we have deployed. Pretty major difference upstairs. And I'm gonna crawl up underneath here. We have deployed a commercial dehumidifier on this control. We've been starting to use these. At first we couldn't get them for a while, but I really like these Watchdog dehumidifiers. They're fairly simple, and we've been using these more and more. The cabinets are pretty robust, easy handles for carrying in and out of the crawl space. It's also got a filter that is fabric, so it can be cleaned out, and we certainly like that. So you can recycle the same filter or buy a second filter to clean out. And every 6 months to 12 months, you can come in here and take the dirty filter out, slip in the clean one. Yeah, these dehumidifiers are very easy to install and to maintain. I'm gonna adjust this one up a little bit here for, you know, a lot of times I see, you know, these things are improperly calibrated. Some of the encapsulation or waterproofing companies will set these units at 30–40%. Sometimes you find them on continuous. And you can see today, it is the end of the winter here in the Carolinas. The relative humidity is 46%. There's no need for this unit to be running. But what happens with folks with closed crawl spaces, they don't realize that, and they super dry the floor system. We certainly don't want to do that with this customer. And if you start off dry, it's easier to keep it dry over the course of the wet months as they approach, which in another 2 months it will be humid here. So a very effective starting point to begin our moisture control program. All the vents have been sealed on this crawl space, and extraordinarily clean and very different than the first time we were here. And we certainly appreciate this customer working with us on this and improving this floor system to make the upstairs perform as much to this customer's liking as we can. The good news is if we need to bring these floors up higher, we certainly can. A common misconception is that you have to have some sort of smart jack or adjustable post to be able to adjust floor systems. You can put dunnage on either side of these piers, lift it slightly, and you can change the size of these shims. So, you know, if you have a traditional CMU pier setup on your crawl space, it's better to install CMU piers just like these are the original piers that came in the house. Why would you want to switch to some sort of jack post? This is what a structural engineer would recommend in an engineering report. So they prefer CMU block piers that are built, constructed per code, 8x16 CMU pier with a concrete footing. And instead of using wedges or pieces of wood that you'll see smacked in there, using 4-inch by 4-inch metal shims to create proper interface with the floor joist above, and of course the pier girder interface. And so you know, this is a really clean installation that I'm happy to feature, and it's because it's almost stand-up in here. This was really a good situation to use for this educational video, so people can see what structural steel looks like, what a CMU pier looks like, what a footing drain looks like, or a pipe and gravel pressure relief system, some companies will call it, or pipe and gravel system. I like to call it a crawl space foundation drain, which is what it really is, and we'll put a picture of that up on the screen for you. But you know, these interior drain systems are a very effective way of controlling drainage. Sometimes you got to do sump pumps, especially on a house like this that probably was built without footing drains. But certainly keeping the gutters clean and free flowing outside, and maintaining a good flower bed with controlled plants and proper grading, that is another great way to keep water out of crawl spaces. So, and I think that kind of covers it. I mean, if you want to talk about encapsulations, liners, structural repairs, cutting spans down, doing drop girders, adding structural beams, either triple 2x10, custom drop girder, or structural steel, we do all that stuff. And you can see the quality of the work that these guys do is absolutely incredible. I think it's some of the best in the city here in the Charlotte market. And when the rest of the companies seem to be getting worse and worse, as they're having severe staffing shortages. So be aware of that as you're getting estimates and so forth. Don't always pay attention to the glossy brochure or the fancy Google reviews. Dig down a little bit. Ask for a referral from your local engineering firm. And they don't recommend companies that are terrible. You know, so most of the work we do these days is cleaning up other people's messes. So be careful who you work with, and, you know, ask for references, ask for referrals, and, you know, work with a company that may be a little bit harder to find, because generally it's the smaller companies that are going to pay attention to these little details, like using real shims and using structural steel, doing nice clean work on the masonry piers, having access to the liners. You know, this is an independent group. We are not a franchisee organization, so we are not manipulated by the manufacturing sector to use a certain product. We can use what we want. That makes us cheaper than everybody else in a lot of cases. And so we can come into these situations. There were 5 companies that tried to get this work. The customer actually chose us, not because we were cheaper, but because we did a more thorough evaluation and provided a much more detailed operational set to this thing to make it make sense. I mean, you know, some of the companies that bid on this didn't even offer the drop girder system. They didn't do structural repair. So we were able to come in as a bundled approach and offer this customer check all the boxes of everything that they wanted to do. Whatever, cleaning the mold, adding the extra ply to the to the existing drop girder system, adding our additional piers and structural steel. There aren't very many companies here that do the full package. So it's important to ask about the full package. If, you know, instead of using different companies to kind of cobble together your project, if you can work with a company that does it all under the same warranty, it's going to be easier to maintain the service on the account. So, we're really excited about this installation. We appreciate you watching today. You can contact us at the number below on your screen. Contact us directly for a competitive quote, a consultation on the phone, or even a visit out to your home if you'll have us. But we really appreciate you watching today. If you have questions about encapsulations, controlled ventilation, footing drains, piers, liners, so forth, give us a call, and we'll be happy to answer those questions. So hope you have a good rest of the afternoon. We appreciate you visiting with us and seeing this great result on this installation, and we will see you on the next one.